Welcome to the Squared Circle Pit with your host, Rob Pasbani.
Now entering the Squared Circle Pit, comedian and friend of mine, friend of the show, making his second appearance in the pit. We have Josh Alba sporting a sexy red shirt.
Hi, buddy. How are you?
I'm good. We're here to talk about AEW Dynasty.
Yeah.
And did you enjoy the show?
I did. I enjoyed the pay-per-view a lot. I do have a little gripe with AEW, I will admit, but their pay-per-views have always been solid, and Dynasty was really good. Dynamite, not so much, but we can get into that later.
We could start with the name of the pay-per-view. Dynasty, I think, is a terrible name for a pay-per-view because it sounds like, as you see, way too much like Dynamite. It's just very poor branding. I'm very disappointed, I would say, in AEW for the simple marketing snafu. This is like marketing 101, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of sounds like they came up with this idea for a pay-per-view very soon after Revolution, very last minute, and they were just like, Dynasty, I guess, because I don't know. I think they would have, compared to all the other pay-per-view names, like, you know, All Out, Full Gear, it makes no sense. But it was a good event. It was fun. It was great. I had one of the best
that's some great matches
ever.
Yes.
Some of the worst.
Well, let's talk about some of the best first.
Yes.
I absolutely loved Bryan Danielson and Will Ospreay. It was very much my shit. And it was just 35 minutes of pro wrestling bliss. I felt very fortunate to live in a time to be able to watch such wonderful entertainment. How did you feel about that match?
I love that match. That match was awesome. I am an old man, so I did fall asleep early, so I did miss that match live. So when I woke up and I saw everybody saying that was the best match ever, like, you know, I saw Brian Alvarez's tweet, and I think that part kind of ruined it for me. I was like, I should have watched it live, maybe. But I did watch it. It was a really amazing match. I mean, that's when matches that go over 30 minutes should go over 30 minutes. You know what I mean? And them two were awesome. They put on a show. I loved it. My favorite was the Ospreay jumping off the rope and Danielson kneeing him in the face. That was my favorite part of the match. It was pretty cool.
Also, I love the Styles Clash. I thought that was such a unique way
pretty
to
sick
get into
too.
the Styles Clash. Yeah,
that was pretty awesome too. Yeah, I still do favor, and this is just how I feel. I do favor Danielson versus Omega more as far as in the United States, and Ospreay versus Omega 1 at Wrestle Kingdom. Those are two like my top favorite matches of all time. But this one's pretty much up there, I would say, as far as what I like, you know. But it was a really good match.
yeah, and it's so exciting to be able to see Will Ospreay regularly on American television. And another person it's very exciting to see regularly on American television is Kazuchika Okada. I thought he and Pac had an incredible match to start the show. Like, you know, I watched the pay-per-view. I kind of watched it in a weird way. I had to go out Sunday night. I had to go out. I just had to.
No, I had to do other things.
Yeah. I had tickets to a show, and I wanted to, you know, fulfill my commitment. And so I got home at around 11 p.m. Eastern time, right as the ladder match was starting. So I watched the ladder match and the main event live. And then I tried to go back and watch the rest of the show, and I just passed out. So I watched I watched it kind of out of order. I watched the last two matches first, and then the rest of the show. So much like you, I heard about how great the Danielson and Ospreay match it was, and I was very excited to watch it. And I almost feel like it completely overshadowed how great the Okada and Pac match was. Like, if that Danielson match wasn't on the show, this would have been the best match on the card.
Yeah, and it was right off the start in the beginning. That was definitely my favorite match besides Danielson and Ospreay. Yeah, that match was awesome, like right off the bat, and I was kind of like worried if the rest of the card could keep up with that. I was like, there's only like 9 matches left. I don't remember how many was in the card. It was a lot, but yeah, that was great. Pac is still like awesome. Okada, you know, I've heard some people say, you know, is he overhyped? No, he lives up to it. He's great. Okada is definitely one of my favorite people in AEW too. So kind of hope he gets the big gold already. You know, not, you know.
I'm with you, man. Like, I think Okada needs to be in the main events. He's so good.
Mm-hmm.
I loved watching him perform, and I'm so excited that we get to watch him every month in a big featured match. Like, he has to be on the pay-per-view every month, basically, just
Oh yeah.
because they're paying him too much money not to have him on the pay-per-view every month. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's my view on it.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're paying him how much money for how many years? Like they gotta have him do something with a belt, I think, for the very minimum. Same thing with
Yeah.
Mercedes. I think she's still injured technically. Is that why she's not wrestling
Yeah,
still?
I just think she's not cleared yet. I think it's
Hmm.
going to be like another month until she'll be allowed to perform.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was the first match, and then we had the trios match with Edge, Eddie Kingston, and Mark Briscoe against House of Black. I thought this match started out kind of slow, but
Mm-hmm.
by the end, it got very, very exciting. Eddie Kingston is always so fun to watch. I know he's one of your all-time favorites, and
Definitely.
I thought based on how the feud's going, and that it's just getting started, this was the right finish, which was Malachi uses the mist to defeat to defeat Adam Copeland. I should stop calling him
Copeland.
Edge.
He's a Copehead
But
now.
yeah, I thought this match was all right. I thought this was all
Mm-hmm.
right.
It looks pretty good. As far
Yeah,
as like
pretty good. I would say above all right. Yeah, pretty good. Sure.
yeah,
Definitely.
it was just like as far as advancing the story, I think it was really good because of the fact that he hit him with the Black Mist. So my question to you is, do you think Copeland will end up joining House of Black in the future? Because that's usually how that goes.
I say
Hmm.
it will. It should be interesting to see, yeah, like what the lore, so to speak, ends up being with Adam Copeland. I'm curious how they
Yeah.
approach that.
Also, if you during the match, if you watched Black and Copeland, they were kind of avoiding each other in a weird way. Every time they were about to interact with each other, they were kind of just like hesitant about it. So that was a weird thing I picked up during the match. And at the end of the match, he hit him with the miss. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. Maybe he might be joining them in the future. So I mean, that's my little prediction, but
Well, I
you never
assume they
know.
were avoiding each other just because they're going to be having a singles match next month, so they don't want to give too much away. At least that's how I interpreted that aspect of it.
Yeah,
But
maybe. Hmm.
it will be definitely interesting to see how things end up progressing with that story. I'm curious to see the singles match also because of this rumor that Malachi Black does not like losing. Is Malachi Black going to be the new TNT champion, or is he going to take a loss? That should be interesting to see
Hmm.
how that plays out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then I believe we had the women's match next, right? That was yes, it was Thunder Rosa against Timeless Tony Storm. Oh wait, no, I have it incorrect. Sorry.
Blues
Then we
Willow.
had sorry.
Okay. That's okay.
It was yes, it was Willow versus Julia Hart for the TBS
Hmm.
championship. And this one I will say was all right. It wasn't anything great.
Yeah.
I've since learned that Julia Hart came into it with an injury, which all things considered, then I thought this was
Oh.
better. What could you expect? I thought it was good in that sense, and you knew the finish going into this since Mercedes Moné is getting the title shot next month, and they already have the storyline built in where Mercedes is facing the winner of this, and Willow is the person who defeated her last month, or I'm sorry,
Right.
last year for the New Japan Women's Championship. Obviously,
Yeah.
Willow's winning.
Yeah,
What did you
definitely.
think
I
of
mean,
this match?
yeah. No, it was just, honestly, for that match, it was really good to see Willow win the TBS championship. Just kind of like the
Hmm.
face of TBS, which is pretty cool seeing her, from here in New York, kind of being on just network television now. And it's pretty awesome to see, and her family was there as well. But yeah, it was kind of obvious that Mercedes was going to come in right after the match and like, get not really get in her face, but you know what I mean, like set up that match for a double or nothing in the future. But yeah, I agree. It was all right. But then again, yeah, I didn't know she was injured, Julia, so that sucks. Hope she gets better soon.
Then we had the International Championship match. I honestly forgot who the International Champion was until the
I
match
forgot that
started.
was I forgot that was on the card. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah, it was Roderick Strong against Kyle O'Reilly. And in no way is this a knock on either of these two guys. I think they're great wrestlers. It's just, I feel like this match is was kind of an afterthought almost. This feud even.
Yeah, I would say because of Pac and Okada, and I think, and also the trios match. This match came on, and it was just a straight wrestling match. And I actually think this is the part where I fell asleep. Sunday night. It wasn't because of them. It was just like I was exhausted. You know,
you do not. This is something I've had a problem with especially with the Sunday night pay-per-views as well. Yeah, it's hard to stay awake through all of it, and I do end up watching a lot of it the next morning.
Yeah, usually at work or something like that. Yeah, I prefer Saturday pay-per-view. I don't know if they said anything why they prefer Sundays. Like I know they've had a Saturday pay-per-view before.
I believe they say they just get better sales on Saturdays is why. I mean on Sundays, which is why they do that.
Oh, okay, interesting.
But I absolutely would prefer Saturday. I've said this before. I would prefer like a 5 or 6 p.m. start. Like why does it have to start at 8 p.m.? There's no like what if the show ended at like 10?
Yes, most of their demographic is. Yeah, most of the demographic is 55 and up. So we need it at like 5 p.m. early night. We have bed early, easy on the eyes, less lighting. Yeah, it would be good.
I'm with you, pal. But yeah, so I thought Kyle and Roderick, this match was brutal. Roderick Strong, great wrestler. Always so intense. And these backbreakers, I felt them as I was watching this. And ultimately, I didn't think that Kyle was going to win, although this is really his first match back to take the loss. I don't know. How did you feel about this one?
I mean, it was cool to see Kyle back in a match. This is probably my least favorite storyline out of everything happening in AEW. So, like, as far as me being invested in it, I was just like, yeah, it's good to see him back. But also, I was just like, I don't know. It was just really, for me, not interest. But it was a brutal match. I rewatched it the next day. It was pretty great. But again, it was just for me after watching, some of the matches earlier on, it was like kind of exhausting. Like I feel like, I don't know, this might be just me, but they should order certain matches where who's gonna do what a lot better, if that makes sense. Like I would have I would have started off with Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong. I think I would have had that as the opener because it would have been a great match in the beginning, as far as a great wrestling match. So that was
save Okada for later in the card. You're saying
yes.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, I mean, if you thought that was actually a good competitive match, so naturally they follow it up with Hook versus Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho, I feel, has never been less over. If that would be the term. People don't like Chris Jericho right now, and I feel the tide is there for Jericho to maybe take a break, right? Like it seems like he could use a little refresh.
So I'm not a fan of Fozzy. I am just not. I hate the song. I hate going to the AEW shows and the smell in the air when everyone's singing it is gagging. But I am not. I'm kind of over Jericho. But the thing about Jericho to me is people might hate him, but he's still getting a reaction. So like, yeah, people don't like him, but then he could end up using that, I feel like, against everyone because.
But I think it's a different kind of heat. It's like the type of heat where it's like people don't want him on the screen. It's not like the good heat that he got as like Le Champion.
Yeah, true. But I feel like you can still turn that into something because people are still, I guess, responding to you in a way. You can still turn it into something, and as long as you keep doing that, and he's definitely going to stay for a while. Unfortunately, whether we like it or not.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought. This was the one match. It's funny, like I had predicted Hook winning, and then my friend was like, I don't know, it's too obvious. Maybe Jericho might take it. And it's like, I I don't know. I'm just not into Jericho right now. I haven't been into Jericho honestly for uh at least a year. Like it's I could use a break from him. I understand his value. I understand that he's a smart guy. I
Yeah.
can see why Tony Khan wants his mind around, but keep it backstage. That's just my take on it.
Gee, yeah, I'm with you there. I've been like having a feeling that Hook what might be leaving AEW this year,
Oh,
and
real?
it
Why do
seems
you
like
think that?
those rumors are getting stronger and stronger. Just because he's not really doing anything besides, he has a belt that they don't acknowledge, or doesn't really never met anything for like 20 something years, and he does the same thing, which is, which was he was badass in the beginning with it. Like, you just don't talk, you just suplex people and kick everyone's ass. But like it feels like he's just not getting better there in a way and not
Mm-hmm.
really growing. So you're gonna keep doing the same thing until you lose your belt. Then what? What are you gonna do after? Because like it seemed like also like there's a lot of people saying that. I mean, although people don't like Jericho, Jericho kind of exposed him in a way and made Hook look weird in the ring because how long was that match again? That was a pretty long match.
It might have been, but
Hook
I
and
thought Hook
Jer.
looked fun. Like you didn't think Hook looked good in the match? I thought he was
Uh, it was
landing
kind of like
some nice suplexes.
that was the thing. It was like, yeah, he was doing some nice suplexes, but also like there was just certain things you were watching him like, him on the turnbuckle when Jericho's punching him, and he wasn't really selling. He was just like exhausted and just there. If you
I do
rewatch
think
that,
he has to work on his selling. I agree with you.
yeah. Taking certain moves like he took the code breaker and just like collapsed. He was just like over it, yeah, I don't know. There's just certain things where you could kind of see that he needs to get better at also. But I have a weird, strange feeling that we're gonna see him in NXT.
I don't know. I feel with like Taz and AEW, I think he's pretty set there. It'd be weird. I mean, like he has. I feel like Taz has a lot of say in Hook's kind of career and storylines, and I don't know if you'd want Hook to be in WWE, but I guess we'll have to
Yeah.
see as the story unfolds as the weeks pass by. The next match we have is the women's championship match with Thunder Rosa and Timeless Tony Storm. I'm loving this Tony Storm character right now. I think she's so great.
Yes.
And she had a great promo on Collision the night before where she was kind of like, she stripped all the comedy away and she was just being serious and being like, you want to come for me? Oh, you're going to regret it. That kind of thing. And I thought they had a really fun match. I thought it was very tough, very stiff, and the right person won. I didn't think Thunder Rosa should have won.
Yeah, and I love Thunder Rosa a lot, but
Yeah,
I don't think Tony Storm should lose that belt anytime soon. Her character has grown on so many people in the past year. Like it's just so fun to see, and not only like her character, her entrance, her promos, her post-show interviews. Those have been like clips to, share on the internet. The stuff that you would say about like, she made another little dig with Tony Khan saying, I'll never call you the ring to celebrate or something like that. It was just a little corny. But also like she's really good at that stuff and seems like she's found her niche as far as character and how popular it's getting,
yeah.
So unless someone's better than her at it, I don't think she should drop the belt anytime soon.
Absolutely not. I agree with you completely. Honestly, like I'd love to see her and Mercedes Moné, but I don't think we're going to get that for a while just because I imagine Mercedes is going to be winning the TBS championship.
Yeah. It's kind of obvious. It's like,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had Ospreay and Danielson. We already talked about this at the top of the show. Loved this match so much. Loved how much they were countering each other, how crisp and precise, and it's very exciting to see Ospreay. It's very exciting to see Ospreay being accepted by the AEW faithful. I mean, it's easy when you're having such great matches.
Yeah. Also, I do believe 90% of the AEW fans are New Japan fans as well, so they kind of,
yeah,
already loved them from the beginning. Yeah, no, I like Ospreay. I love Danielson. That match was awesome. Yeah, I just I wish I kind of this is weird. The fans kind of ruined it for me in the match from the beginning because it was like shut up, like in a way, like they were like hyping it up before the match even started a little too much. I could,
I could feel it because I could relate to it in the sense because the
yeah,
same thing happened when for the first Grand Slam when it was Bryan Danielson against Kenny Omega. I feel it was the same
yeah,
kind of thing where people, myself included, we were just marking out that like finally we're up to this match that I've really wanted to
true.
see.
Hmm.
And I think that kind of just shows how excited the fans were. I thought the crowd was awesome the whole
Yeah,
night.
no,
I mean,
definitely.
for the Jericho match, they were being so cruel. They were chanting,
Mhm.
"Please retire."
That was great.
Fozzy sucks. And here
Hmm.
it was the opposite. They were with him the whole way, and they loved Bryan Danielson, but the crowd wanted Will Ospreay to win. This was his
Yeah,
match to win, I thought.
they're mostly behind the Ospreay.
Yeah, I thought that was really, really cool. This was great. I think Osprey's winning at All In London. I think it's pretty obvious, and he should be their star. He's the best.
100%.
We move on now to the ladder match, which was FTR versus the Young Bucks, and I've ranted on the show plenty of times about how I am over ladder matches. I think that they're not pro wrestling, like they're not sports entertainment. It's just a stunt show, and
Yep.
wrestling is supposed to be moves that look painful but aren't, and ladder matches I feel is things that don't look painful but actually are very painful. So you have the opposite effect with bouncing off the ladders, and I understand why this match in particular was a ladder match because of the way they structured the ending and they were doing the story with Jungle Boy. All that said, the first half of the match, because the Danielson and Osprey match was so good, felt like the old Divas matches that they would throw in between the two main events, where it's like, all
Yeah.
right, you really felt like half the crowd was at the concessions, they were at the bathroom, and in a way, it kind of made it even worse because these guys are killing themselves, throwing themselves onto ladders to no reaction. Like nobody's.
Yeah. I feel like maybe they did that too, as far as in that spot, to make everyone stay in a way, but it still didn't work. As far as that match goes, I kind of did like that they did less emphasis on jumping off the ladder and doing like spots like that. It was more like a brawl with the ladder in a way.
Yeah.
My personal opinion, I think Jungle Boy just ruined the whole thing. I don't care for Jungle Boy. That's just me. I kind of knew that stuff was happening. It was very obvious. I mean, I think we all did. But on a person, like, just in general, I'm over Jungle Boy, especially his little bad boy persona that he's trying to do. And also with all the stuff with the whole Punk stuff and the backstage footage, like, yeah, you could say you're making it part of the storyline, but it's still, to me, it's pretty lame. It's like you just showed on national television someone that left your company just beat up one of your stars, and now you don't have them for like 6 months or something. Like, I don't know. I just thought that was a dumb move, but to each his own, I guess. That I did like the match though. The match was definitely a lot of fun. I think Dax bled way too much. That kind of sucked. I felt bad for him because I was like, ugh. I don't know if he meant to do that, but
No, I ultimately did end up liking the match. They definitely, and honestly, I didn't think they should have showed the backstage footage with Punk, but I do have to say that because they showed it, Jungle Boy is way more over, and even to me than he was before it. Like I agree with you. Like I don't really care about Jack Perry. I didn't have a bad opinion about him, but like I just had an indifferent opinion about him. But
yeah.
I do like how the crowds are reacting to him. I liked it at the New Japan pay-per-view last week and here. So in that sense, I will concede that on some level showing the Punk footage work, because specifically for Jack Perry, because he was not getting these reactions anywhere near these reactions before this. So We'll see how it goes. I guess he's going to be with the
True.
Elite. I agree with you, though. I don't really care too much about his wrestling. Like, who's he going to be feuding with, and who needs to see it?
Right. Hmm.
Yeah. So, but overall, this is good. And Young Bucks as champions, Young Bucks always have fun matches. So, and I think they're enjoying this new kind of EVP character they're doing, where they're kind of mocking
Yeah,
secession and all that.
it's slowly growing on me. I mean, they were what, the Young Bucks generation me for how many years now? And
Mhm.
they're actually trying something new that's not Bullet Club or what they were doing before and playing into the EVP character. And I'm slowly liking it because I do want to see them in a different light. And they are fun to watch. I love their matches. It's not like I never hated. I've never found a Young Bucks match boring, to be honest.
Mhm.
Maybe when they were, in TNA. I don't know, but no, not even. Um,
No, I agree with
no.
you. I feel they always delivered.
Hmm.
And then we had the main event. It was Samoa Joe versus Swerve. And my instinct was that I thought that Swerve should have lost and that he should have won it, like maybe at the next week, like a little more struggle. But
Really?
but I will say though, I understand why he won,
Hmm.
especially if they want Ospreay to win at All In. You don't want you don't want him to just have like a one pay-per-view reign. You want him to have a few successful title defenses before losing it.
Yeah. My thing originally was I kind of wanted Swerve to win earlier than that.
Oh yeah.
And then maybe Joe come in and be this monster that takes the belt. Because I mean, Joe only had the belt for what, 4 months, almost five.
Yeah, since
Um,
December.
yeah, and
Yeah, Joe had a pretty short reign, relatively speaking, too. Yeah.
yeah, I feel like he could have had the belt for a lot longer, but at the same time, it is what it is. It felt right for Swerve to be the champ right now. He
Hmm.
deserves it, and I feel like he should have got that a
Absolutely
long time
deserves it.
ago.
Yeah.
As far as Ospreay and winning in Wembley goes, you think it would be Swerve versus Ospreay at Wembley for the belt,
I
and you
do.
think
Yeah.
Ospreay is going over?
Absolutely.
Man. That'd be cool to see. It just sucks that it would be too soon in a way because I want Swerve to be champ for a while too. That's the thing. There's a lot of guys there that I want them to have the belt for a while.
Hmm.
But it's just not possible. They just, as far as with everything coming up, but yeah. No, it was a great match. It was fun. I enjoyed it. Uh, Joe's still badass. That little trip kick that he did, that little sweep kick where he knocked him on his face was pretty dope.
And yeah, and I enjoyed the celebration as well. I thought it was very fun. The crowd was really into it. I'm curious now. I feel like every time AEW is a pay per view, it's almost like a season premiere. The Dynamite after they don't really announce too many matches, and
Yeah. I got
you just kind of. What were you
Yeah,
gonna
I
say?
got one thing to say about the celebration. Actually, you just reminded me. I think it's a little silly. I mean, it made me laugh. When Swerve is having a moment, he looks down, he has the AEW championship belt, and he's like, "Oh my God, I did it." And you look up, and the first thing you see is King not like Prince not doing this.
Love it.
Like in a way, I'm like, I love it too, but also it's like, can you wait a minute? Like, can you just be a person and enjoy this for like 60 seconds and then get into it? Like, it's just, I thought it was hilarious, but no, it was great. I loved it.
Yeah, and that should be good. So, what are your feelings on AEW in general right now? Now that we've moved past this?
So I'm still a fan of AEW. My thing is their shows for me have not been so great. They like to build. I mean, to me, how I see it is they'll set up the match that they want at the next pay-per-view, right? But then like building to it is just like, just not good in a way.
Hmm.
Meanwhile, others they come up with the story first and then the match will come later. Like they'll figure out why we want to do the match. So like it's like they do a lot of dream matches, which everyone loves. No one's complaining about that. But like you have a weekly show, you have two weekly shows now, like three actually. Dynamite Rampage. Rampage was supposed to be the new hot show on Friday nights, and now it's just like kind of like Heat in a way.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's a lot of wrestling, which again, not complaining, but also it's like you got all this time to build some of these storylines and you're not really doing it. It's just like a lot of these cards is like last minute just put together in a way. But then again, it's like the pay-per-views they always deliver. So it's like this weird balance of like you got all this stuff that they're doing that's kind of like, I don't care for the most part, every week. And then but you're like, I'm gonna watch the pay-per-view because I know it's gonna be great. So if
Yeah.
they could just
Well, yeah,
fix
the
that
pay per view
part,
doesn't require any like booking. Well, it does booking, but
yeah,
like writing, like storytelling. The
yeah,
storytelling is in the ring. It's left to the wrestlers.
mm-hmm. Just all matches. That's all you needed to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's my little thing. And I didn't really care for the showing of the backstage footage. I thought it was kind of lame, and I thought it was also kind of funny because CM Punk got even more over, in a way.
Yeah. Now
But
there's CM Punk chants on Dynamite and on
yeah,
AEW, which I think is not a
hmm
good thing for them.
yeah,
But cool. All right. Well, I think that's basically all we went through all the matches.
yeah.
We did what needed to be done.
Mhm.
Josh, where can people check you out on
Did it.
social media and all that?
Instagram, it's Josh Alba. Also, I do a monthly show in Bushwick, monthly stand-up comedy show called Putting It Out There. Our next one is May 3rd. If this comes out after May 3rd, every first Friday of the month, come check us out. Really great comics. I posted on my Instagram. Also, there's something else that's coming in the summer. I cannot say yet because it's not official, but when it is, you'll see it on the Instagram. And I think it's probably going to be the coolest thing I ever did. But
Oh, okay,
I'm
cool.
excited.
Well,
Little
thank you,
cliffhanger there.
Josh, so much for entering
Thank you.
the pit.